So where is this that we're sitting now then?
Where I'm sitting just now, Julie, is part of the John Brown's shipyard. But this part of the yard where we're sitting was the old engine shop. They were the engineers. When John Brown's years ago, it was called John Brown Shipbuilding and Engineering. In 1967, they separated. I started in Brown's at 16 years of age in 1948 as a joiner, apprentice joiner. And the reason why I wanted to be a joiner was because in these days shipbuilding there was always redundancies and etc. That if I had a trade as a joiner I could also work out in the building industry.
Aye, of course you can.
But I stayed in the yard till from 1948 to 1996.
It's incredible.
48 years.
My family all originate from Clydebank in the surrounding area. Myself, I was born and brought up in Clydebank. I went to primary school in Clydebank and secondary school in Clydebank. My mother worked in Singers, so did my dad. Then my dad went to the shipbuilding. Now, was I supposed to follow in their footsteps? Absolutely not. I couldn't have thought of anything worse.
Is retail better than industry? Is that what you're asking me? From the point of view where this isn't dangerous. Okay, I'm not breathing in stuff that's going to kill me when I get older. There's that, I suppose, but then this isn't safe either, is it? Because of the global economic crisis. There's no such thing as a safe job anymore.
As far as yourself was concerned, what brought you to consider working in a shipyard?
It was sort
If you bear in mind that when we worked in the shipyards, right, the female labour, as far as the skilled trades were concerned, probably the most skilled, if you consider on the technical side, were the tracers in the drawing office. Yeah. But of course there was typists and canteen workers, and of course the women who worked on the ships, French polishers and cleaners and things like that.
Aye, indeed.
But there certainly was no apprenticeships in those days for girls.
No.
Right, not saying it was not impossible then, but it certainly was not a consideration at that period. It should have been, but it wasn't.
Aye. No, it's changed days now.
Yeah. And what was the attraction for you?
For me, it was actually similar to yourself. The idea of being able to work other places as well as the yards.
Yeah.
Getting a trades.
Yeah.
And being able to use that and go elsewhere if required. I'm more than happy to stay where I am. I'm enjoying it. It's different from what a lot of my friends are doing, so it's I've got better stories at the end of the day, I think.
Things have changed, things have evolved. This area here, I can't remember the names of the shops apart from Fine Fair and Super Sweet and all these kind of old shops that don't exist anymore. But it's really strange and quite uplifting actually for me to say that I remember it before it was here, and now I'm a franchisee of one of the best shops in the shopping centre, if I don't say myself.
My granddad told me a story about how he had 5 jobs in one day, and he walked the length of the Govan Road just going into the shipyard, and somebody told him in every shipyard that the one down the road was paying a little bit more, and he left that job and walked to the next one and had 5 new jobs in one day. I don't think you could do that these days.
We actually had in the joiner's shop over 100 apprentice joiners. And that, you know, and if you look at the other trades in the yard, the electricians, plumbers, welders, platers, all apprentices. So the average, maybe about 20% of the workforce was apprentices.
Wow.
All changed days.
Indeed, my year was a big intake. We had almost 100 taken on, but in the last few years I've been taking on about 20, 30 apprentices every year. Just.
My father worked in Singers, my father worked in the shipyards, and it's really changed a lot now with them shutting down. It's taken a lot away from Clydebank itself. The shopping centre's done a big difference, bringing more business and things like that. But no, it's a big major miss. The high streets as well, things like that. Like big supermarkets, when they moved into high streets, things like that, they're taking a lot away. They're like shutting down the smaller shops, like the corner shops, things like that. It's changed in a big, drastic way through the working class thing, through the shipyards and everything else.
The argument is that main picture down there, they all say that's damn muir, and Taz told me one day it was, somebody argued me the other day, said it was Clydebank, and I said, I'm sure Taz told me it was damn muir. Then I had to come and ask you, remember? And I said, I don't know.
Train station, it's when Clydebank had 3 train stations. That's the train station that's not there anymore. So people they fight at it, proper argue.
Aye, and then they came out. In fact, there's one woman that comes in, she says, that's me standing there. That woman with the coat on, remember?
That's
She's
right.
a really old woman. And I believe her, I do think it's her.
Probably is.
Aye. She says, I remember that picture. I remember when it got taken.
It was way back when Singers and the shipyards were open. That was, everybody went shopping in the corner shop. There wasn't a shopping centre open. So everybody got a turn from fruit, veg, fishmongers, butchers. Everybody went in there. But now the supermarkets are just taking everybody and they're just doing all their shopping in one place, which is, I believe, is wrong. Well, I was looking at old pictures the other night and there was there was a shoe shop, Saxon, and it used to be up in the top corner, it was Fine Fair. Now it's just the supermarket, but the old shops, to go back to it, you've got to look at the old pictures. The memory's not so good.
People do have a right to work, they need to work. Because if people don't work, they don't get things done. There's no industry, there's no economy, there's not. It's important for people to work.
I actually started when I was about 15. My brother used to go out with a hairdresser, so I used to go when I was a wee lassie, and I used to go down to chapel and do our homers, shampoo and take colours off while she was doing our homers. So that's how I got started, and then started at 15, left school and started in a salon at 15, and that's me ever since. I'm 39 now. I love my work. I must say, I love my work. I don't even feel as if doing hairdressing is work because the clients are that nice, and it's a wee place in Drumrye, so it's everybody that comes here is around about Clydebank, so you get that pally with them. It's not really like customers, it's more like pals. I always wanted to do hairdressing. They used to say to me in school, if you took as much time doing your hair and your makeup in the classroom, you'd be top of the class. So I was always in the toilet doing my hair or doing my pal's hair or putting makeup on, so it was always something I wanted to do. Even if it was when I was a wee lassie, I was like doing dolls' hairs or something.
It was great. There was a Woolworths and everything in Clydebank, and that's where you went on a Saturday. You didn't go away into city centre or anything then. There's no big shopping centres or anything. And it was much better, and you went to shops that weren't all self-service. You knew everybody in every wee grocer's shop or anything. Nothing like nowadays. Everything was personal when you went to the butchers or you went to the bakers or went to the grocers. You knew everybody. I think the young ones get a raw deal nowadays, truthfully, because there is no work. The government's closing everything down, and these young ones, they just get into a rut of not working, and then they don't know anything else. Sad, very sad.
Well, in my opinion, I agree on that because there's not really much out there for anybody, so basically most teenagers are actually kind of getting the idea of what's the point. I mean, if there's not much out there, then there's not much choice for a teenager today. The only choice they can get is...
That's right, up to them, they always fighting it.
I don't think it's necessarily
That's the only
being
choice
lazy,
they've
I
got
think,
is
it's just
fight.
not trying anymore.
Everybody should be allowed to go to work and everybody should get a job, because if you get routine in your life, I mean, that's the same to me. If you've got routine in your life, you've got everything. If you've no routine, what are you going to get up for in the morning?
There was a lot of jobs in the shipyards.
There was lots more opportunities and more like shops running about instead of houses.
And you could get jobs at younger ages.
Ages of 16, 17.
No, there was ones that pure worked at the age of 14 and everything.
I think everybody was satisfied to take wages home every week now. I don't know how young men bringing up families feel.
It's just, there's a lot of people that, like, the prices are going higher, so then some employers they're just like paying people off because they can't afford having so many people around, so people are losing their jobs because of it. And that's why a few young people can't get into jobs, because they don't have enough space, they can't afford it.
Keep that shut. My father always said that all my life. You keep these open and keep that shut, you'll always get on in the morning.
Yes.
Well, I'm eager to work.
I'm eager to work, but I'm still lazy.
See, told you.
The reason I became an engineer was my sister. She was courting a marine engineer. I think it was a uniform she fancied, right? And he said to me, right, you fancy the shipyards? And I said, yes, I did. As far as shipbuilding is concerned in the Clyde side currently, we certainly cannot exist with the situation with BAE systems only. There has to be some consideration of an expansion of the industry one way or another.
Yeah,
and that's something the governments will have to address.
Well, that's what's happened, didn't it? We were talking about that before. Used to have Singer. The shipyards, if you think of all the pubs they had because of the amount of people that worked in Singers and worked in the shipyards. So a lot of the kids have lost that work ethic. I mean, you've got new, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 generations unemployment now here. You had a community within a community. You had people traditionally their fathers worked in Singers, worked in the shipyards. So you had that, generations of that going on. Then we lost that. I mean, I know you could probably put an argument up because it's a global recession and things like that. But nevertheless, it's had an adverse effect in the place.
The thing about the shipbuilding industry, of course, is that it's the finest training in the world, in my opinion, because you hit every discipline. Not only the disciplines of the job, but you're dealing with people who they're wonderful in themselves. And they are. I mean, there's no doubt about it, a shipyard experience. Comradeship and laughter and storytelling and highly intelligent people, highly qualified engineers and designers. And people think you're building ships. In the old days it wasn't.
Building characters, Jimmy.
Character, yes.
People's characters. Yeah. And the beauty of working in a shipyard, you weren't working just with your own trade. When you're working on a ship, you're working with electricians and plumbers and welders and all that sort of thing. All trades, doesn't matter what trade you were, you guarded your rights like you would guard your pocketbook, you know.
Yep.
It was important. And one of the only sad thing I ever felt about the shipyards was that when you completed a job, there was vast redundancies, you know. And the likes of in Browns here, you would finish the ship off and they would pay off all the outfit trades that would join us electricians. And when you started a new ship, they started welders and platers and etc. You know? Balance the books.
We used to call it the hunger on the bus.
Hunger on the bus.
Right. You were hungry, then you got a bus to work. Then you were hungry again, you got a bus to work.
Young people and that, they want to go out running like a professional boxer and all that kind of stuff, you know, and it makes them want to train more and a motivation. But if this club wasn't here, people that weren't working, they'd probably end up getting into drugs. What else is there? No making money.
Well, it gives them qualities for work as well, which we say about the young fellas. They're coming down here and they're hearing good things. So they're hearing people that are working, saying to them to stick in at school, get as many qualifications as they can, etc. This gives them it learns them a discipline as well. It gives them communication skills because they're socialising down here as well with people. It maybe gives them a network, gives them people that they can model themselves on as well, because they can see older people looking after themselves as well. And it's I think that all comes into it. It gives them a discipline in their life, it gives them an outlook for some of them, because we have got people here that's unemployed within the club. We've got a couple of rejoiners that haven't worked for the last year. Now they've worked all their life. Guys like Marty and that have worked all their life, and all of a sudden they're now finding that where they're going through a situation where they've not got any work, and some of them will tell you that. At least this still gives them their 2 nights to work off their anxieties, etc.
I would move, but I'd still stay in Scotland.
In all honesty, I probably would as well. But it's just depending on like the job circumstance.
Yeah, if it's permanent or not.
Yeah. Because I wouldn't actually want to move away from like the place I live permanently, because you know you'd probably miss it too much, and you know you'd probably want to visit, but you might not have enough time. In all honesty, I think the government's using the money for themselves.
Yeah.
I think they're spending it in Bentleys and nice houses and just squandering it. And we're sitting left with nothing.
They've put us at risk for reasons that we don't even know.
That's probably why there's such a low
taxes
like,
and gases and all that's going up.
Employment.
Petrol and all.
Because our parents pay tax and they get more or less nothing in return.
They're only giving the money from tax to the poorest to get new hats. No, actually.